Travels by Broomstick comes to you from South Wales, the land of the dragon. Oh, and sheep. We got lots of sheep. Welcome to all you good people out there in podcast land. So, let's get the broomstick out the garage, and off we go.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Travels by Broomstick. Firstly, we would like to give a shout out to some of our lovely subscribers. The super smagical being that is Maxley, thank you so much for your continued support to our little channel. We would also like to thank Michael Stamper, Duncan Kilburn and Time Lord Victorious for all your lovely comments and support. If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, click the button below and help us grow our magical community.
Today's journey takes us to a hidden gem, the aptly named Rocky Valley, located in the parish of Tintagel, North Cornwall, England, in the UK.
We went on an adventure to find the mysterious labyrinth carvings of Rocky Valley. Could our little dog Frank sniff them out?
We walked along a rocky path, following the river Trivelet as it meanders over the little waterfalls through the beautiful greenery that surrounds it.
Before we got to the labyrinth carvings, I could feel that this was a special place. It exuded a magical ambience with the sound of the water babbling and the birds singing in the trees. The river descends through a wooded gorge, passing the ancient hermitage of St. Nectan and spilling dramatically over a waterfall known as the Keeve. St. Nectan's Glen itself is a beautiful and spiritual place. We passed many coin-filled wish trees as we walked along the path. Hopefully all these wishes have come true. The crystal clear waters move beside moss-covered rocks, with trees filled with multicolour ribbons, often used for their healing properties. The ribbon would be dipped in the water and the afflicted body part bathed with the ribbon before being tied to the branch of the tree so that the healing powers of the water could act upon it. Beautiful statues of goddesses are hidden in the greenery, surrounded by various offerings of crystals, coins and flowers. There are stone stacks called cairns, as well as carved symbols in the stone surrounding the waterfall. It really is truly magical.
The river continues to St. Nectan's Glen and flows through the glorious woodland before plunging through a jumble of jagged rocks to the sea west of Trevethet Farm. This final section of the river's descent is known as Rocky Valley, a secret little location hidden away from the world. The water made its lateral source of power for 3 mills. These were Trevethy or Trevethet Mill, Trevillet Mill and Halgebrom Mill. Trevillet Mill is now a private dwelling and was made famous by the 1851 painting by Thomas Creswick. The lowest, Trevethy Mill, now stands derelict. It once produced cloth and yarn, but ceased production in 1861, where it was left uninhabited and slowly began to decay, and nature has now started to reclaim it. Rocky Valley was mentioned in travel books as a place of exceptional beauty. This was as early as 1897. The valley is now owned by the National Trust and is home to 161 different species of moss. And I wonder if one of them's called Kate.
Near the decaying mill is an exposed rock face of dark shale, and it's on this rocky surface that the mysterious labyrinth symbols have been carved. But what exactly is a labyrinth? A labyrinth is an elaborate, confusing structural design, also known as a maze. In Greek mythology, the labyrinth was built by the legendary artificer Daedalus. It was made for King Minos of Crete at Knossos. The labyrinth held the legendary Minotaur, the monster with the head of a bull and the body of a man. This monster was eventually killed by the hero Theseus. It is said that Daedalus had so cunningly made the labyrinth that he could barely escape it after he built it.
The 7-course classical Cretan pattern of the labyrinth is best known from the Cretan coins circa 700 to 200 BC. It appears in several examples from antiquity, some examples from as early as the late Stone Age to early Bronze Age. Roman floor mosaics typically unite 4 copies of the classical Cretan labyrinth pattern, interlinked around the centre, squared off as the pattern requires, but still recognisable as the labyrinth symbol.
What makes the Rocky Valley labyrinths or petroglyphs so fascinating and also so controversial is that there are no comparable rock carvings anywhere in southern England, and the time of creation has been highly debated. The carvings were discovered in 1948 by S.J. Madge, who was writing a book about the walks along the Cornish coast. The carvings were officially brought to the attention of archaeologists in a 1954 article in the Illustrated London News.
Excited archaeologists leapt on the presence of the Labyrinth carvings as proof of settlement by large numbers of Mediterranean people into the Cornwall area. There have been a few different ideas put forward regarding the origins of these carvings. One possibility relates to the neighbouring St Nectan's Glen, a waterfall and early Christian hermitage located just a little further up the Trevellet River.
Considered by some as a sacred site, it is said that St Nectan lived in the hermitage at the head of the waterfall. On stormy days, he would venture down to the end of Rocky Valley and ring a silver bell to warn ships away from the treacherous rocks. The legend goes that St Nectan was buried under the riverbed at Trevellet, giving it magical powers. It seems possible that the labyrinths could have been carved by early Christian pilgrims, although they do not represent traditional Christian iconography.
Another theory is that the carvings are relatively modern and could have perhaps been made by one of the owners of the Trevethy Mill. In support of this theory, there are also carvings of different dates as well as initials carved into the stone, in and around the mill itself.
The labyrinth symbols themselves have been interpreted in many different ways. They are said to be a Celtic fertility symbol, or as a representation of the Tree of Life. Modern writers have suggested that the labyrinth was used by local witches to help introduce states of altered consciousness. Prehistoric labyrinths may have served as traps for malevolent spirits, or as paths for ritual dances. Many Roman and Christian labyrinths appear at the entrances of buildings, suggesting that they may have served a similar apotropaic purpose, like a witch mark or a demon trap. We know that St Nectan's Hermitage was a destination for pilgrims as early as the 6th century, so it would make sense that these pilgrims would have walked up the river from Rocky Valley to get to St Nectan's Glen. So it is possible that the labyrinths could have been carved into the rocks on the old pilgrim's path as a way marker or as a symbol to show that this was a sacred route, or possibly to even stop any negative energies from continuing further to the hermitage.
The labyrinths themselves can be seen as symbols of pilgrimage. People walking the path ascended towards salvation and enlightenment. Mystical teachings in tradition across centuries suggest that the labyrinths can also be understood as coded maps of the spiritual path. Many labyrinths have been constructed in churches, hospitals and parks, used for contemplation. Walking among the turnings of the labyrinth, one can lose track of the outside world, helping to quiet the mind.
Whatever their origin and symbolism, the place feels magical, spiritual, and enchanting to visit. So how many brooms do you give Rocky Valley?
Well, I'm going to give it 4.5 brooms. I'm going to dock it half a broom because it was very difficult to get to and the symbols were quite difficult to find. So you could actually walk around there for hours and not really find anything.
Do you have any idea how the symbols got there?
Yeah, they were carved.
I know they were carved, but who do you think carved them and when?
They looked ancient. They could have been Stone Age, Bronze Age, but they could be medieval, or they could have been done this time last week. I don't know.
How did Rocky Valley make you feel? I know we went there on a bit of a wet day, so it was quite dark. It was quite creepy, actually. But did you feel the spirituality of the place? Did you think that those labyrinths made the place magical?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It had a nice atmosphere, despite the fact it was quite soggy and raining. I think what really upset me most is there wasn't a gift shop.
That's true. I was upset about that as well. I wanted a gift shop. You know I love a gift shop.
Yeah, but there wasn't one. I looked, and there it was. Gone. And just like the gift shop, we're gone. I hope you enjoyed it and had a magical time. We'll see you next time.